So here we are with another episode from My Hero Academia, and this one was definitely another episode that centered around Dabi. Unlike previously, where it was Dabi's dance, this time we learned a lot more about Dabi, and to be honest, it's quite surprising what we do learn about him. Before we get into it, make sure you guys are liking the video, make sure you guys are subscribed, because we'll definitely discuss a lot of anime on this channel, so stay tuned for more in the future. But, I mean, I definitely was surprised to learn that Dabi, even though how close he is with the League of Villains and how he's been interacting with them and doing and following orders, he actually is not a part of them. If anything, he's the loose cannon of the group, even though he seems like he's the closest. There was a lot of big reveals, but one reveal was the fact that, you know, All For One finds Dabi, and where the fire that you think that, or the family thinks that kills him, they bring him in. Dude is sleeping, pretty much in a coma for 3 years, which is like, okay. And they do try to heal him, like they did. Even All For One was saying how they did try to regenerate some of his skin and such, or any pieces of him that were, I assume, burned off from when he was younger. And you see where All For One is trying to get his claws into Dabi and be like, hey, why don't you join us? And then Dabi literally rejects them, which is like, wow, a lot better than Shigaraki, because Shigaraki just basically followed All For One from go, and thus the reason why he has the little child in him, you know, still suffering and hurting, which, you know, Deku is trying to speak to. But Dabi is like, no, I want my family. I want my father. You know, thanks, but no thanks. And literally, I assume, it didn't really show it, but I assume he killed everyone in that orphanage. Although the orphanage was ran by All For One, and probably those kids were going to be experimented on because it's All For One. I can only assume that it's showing how he killed not only Mr. Sunny, but, and pour one out for Mr. Sunny, but everyone there. Don't know, maybe the manga explains a little bit more detail and maybe they, you know, show them actually escaping or something, but from what the anime is showing, it seems like he killed everyone there as far as his first steps. And then he kind of just walks away. Now we learned that he actually does go back home, does find Endeavor, does find Shoto, gets enraged to find out that they've moved on. Now, I don't think the moving on part really hurts him. I think what really hurts him is the fact that his family thinks he is dead. So he's there in the home. He probably would have thought that, oh, through my death, my father would change. He wouldn't be so hard-pressed to manufacture somebody to beat All Might because I died. And as someone that's part of the family that, you know, supposedly is dead, you think there would be some change. But no, he was just tormented by the fact to learn that, oh my Lord, my father's still the same. My death had no meaning. Apparently he was in that home for a good while, because then he gives a little prayer to himself and just leaves, and then decides to do this revenge, which it now honestly just kind of makes sense that Dabi loved his father as a son, you know, your firstborn, but then sees that, oh, maybe my dad would change. Maybe, you know, maybe there would be something in him that would not make him the same that he was and go down this path. But I believe after he saw that, the torment and the hurt is what twisted him to be the Dabi that we know now. I honestly feel sorry for Dabi because he's pretty much a dead man walking. The fact that he was able to, as they say, make his flames even stronger than Endeavor, mainly because he has no pain, his pain threshold is lower. And as you know, even though he has a fire quirk, his body is resistant to cold. So if he had gotten cold powers, he would be probably one of the strongest cold users or ice users in the whole show. But he has fire powers, so his body, it burns up even quicker, easier than probably most normal people. But he circumvents that because of the issues that's happened in his life and has happened to his body. And he's literally like a zombie. He's so set out for revenge that people start to realize, oh, he's ready to die. This is it. He's literally like, no, trying to save myself. I am trying to get my point across. I don't care what happens. I don't care what happens to me. Like, you see that any patches of regular skin that he had left that was being held together by all of the staples that he had in him just being burned away. And the fire that he was doing was so intense that other fire users or other people that could control fire in a way were just passing out from overheating. And let's not brush away Todoroki's power. Now, his power that, of course, he has the ice, he has the flames, and then he decides to blend the two together and use his heart as the core to control both aspects of him, which is something that makes sense, but I can't believe I never thought of it before. Like, yes, one side of your body does ice, the other side of your body does fire. Why not blend the two and have some way to control both of them? So then that way you can blend them in and have your own version of ice fire moves. Todoroki was the only one that really could withstand his intense flames of Dabi. This made for actually a great fight. Now, there wasn't like a whole lot of clashing back and forth, a lot of things, but the attacks that did go through were just really amazing. And this was probably, I wouldn't say a perfect episode, but a very good one to showcase backstory, plus also the current fighting that's going on. And here you have two brothers. You know, Dabi, of course, wanted to fight his father, but he gets the Todoroki, and they are meshing, attacking, and trying to understand each other. As Todoroki's like, look, brother, you're twisted. You may have some issues against our dad, but you were the one that killed people. It wasn't, you know, you can't blame this on dad for all these issues. You literally murdered and incinerated regular people, regular civilians, and you must answer for that. You can't just slide it on, oh, my dad pushed me to do this. No, this is literally you. So their battle together was just so good and so amazing. And just like I said, the knowledge to know that Dabi was the backup plan. All for One wanted Dabi and wanted to, you know, as he's done with Shigaraki, wanted to put his essence into Dabi. But when they learned that he pretty much probably only has a month to live, but that he lives for years after he has left them, but it's all a hell's march, a zombie march to death. And thankfully, he didn't die. I mean, it looked like he was really prepared to. He's melting statues. He was ready to die in this moment. And thankfully, Shoto was able to stop him. And maybe they can in some way rehabilitate him, because Dabi's hate for his father stems from love. Like, he loves his father so much that he is hurt that his father hasn't changed. So Dabi feels like he's got to be the one to take revenge and or attack / change his father and reveal all the issues, as we saw in Dabi's dance episode, reveal to the world who Endeavor truly is. Let all secrets be exposed, and then process this. I mean, such a twisted family to have all this happen. Like I said, I really did feel sorry for him. This battle was definitely a battle for both brothers here. Both issues that they both have to clash on. Of course, looming above them is their father and the issues that he's done in the past. So, like, as they say, sins of the father. One side, Dabi, feels rejected, but then Todoroki, who is the perfect vessel that Endeavor wanted, is not the one following in the way that Endeavor wanted him to be. Of course, as we all know in the beginning, Endeavor wanted Todoroki to be the manufactured product. So then that way he's like, oh, you're going to be better than All Might because you have both hot and cold powers. And this is exactly what I wanted you to be. And yet he's like, no, I'm not going to do that, Dad. And thus later Endeavor changes and tries to be the good dad, but he has to pay for what he's done. Overall, a great episode, and I could probably just sit here and just talk about it for a very long time because there's a lot to unravel between really the trifecta of all three of them. You have Endeavor at the top of the pyramid and his issues raining down on all of the children, even his wife, but these two, of course, meeting on the battlefield and having to process what their father has done to them. And what does that do for them? Who are they now that they're not Endeavor's toys, but actual real people? But tell me what you guys think in the comments down below, because I think this was a great episode. I think this is kind of emotionally putting everything on the table for everyone to talk about, get through, get over, and process. So I really look forward to seeing what happens in the future after everything's said and done. You know, does Dabi start to really think about what was talked about? You know, does Dabi, you know, have that one-on-one talk with his father so that they all can process and get through, you know, while he's in jail, of course, after everything is done? And I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me. But make sure, like I said, you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed for more, because we'll definitely discuss this and several other anime here on the channel. Please take care of yourselves, be safe, and Lord willing, I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patron.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.